Hello and welcome to the English YouTuber. And today we're going to discuss all the possible questions from Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 3. So please make sure you watch this video until the end because we are going to discuss all the possible questions that could appear from this scene. So let's begin. The first question: where does Act 1, Scene 3 take place? A. In a camp near forests. B. In the palace of King Duncan. C. In a heath near forest. Or D. In the palace of Macbeth. So yes, the answer is in a heath near forest. Second, where was the second witch? A. She met a sailor's wife eating chestnuts. B. Killing swine. C. Went to take a pilot's thumb. Or D. Went to avenge the sailor with storm in Aleppo. Don't get confused. The answer is killing swine. It was the first witch who went and met a sailor's wife who was eating chestnuts and who went to take a pilot's thumb and went to avenge the sailor. So the second witch had gone to kill pigs. Going to the third question. How does the first witch plan to avenge the sailor because of his wife's insult? A. Turn him into a rat without a tail. B. Make his ship disappear. C. Prevent him from ever meeting his wife. Or D. Drain him and prevent him from sleeping. Yes, the answer is drain him and prevent him from sleeping. She said she will turn into a rat without a tail. She said, I will not be able to make the ship disappear, but I will throw the ship in the storm. So the answer is drain him, drain the life out of him and also prevent him from sleeping. Fourth question. Explain in detail how the first witch will avenge the sailor. So this is a long question type. I have written the answer for you. The witch will drain the sailor dry like hay and exhaust him completely. Also, she will prevent him from sleeping during the night as well as the day. And he shall live like a cursed man. Moreover, the journey of the ship would be extended for 81 weeks, and he shall wither away and grow thin. Finally, she will toss his ship in storm and make his journey miserable. So I have included everything in a concise manner so it becomes for you to retain as well as write it in your exam. So I have written the 5 main points. This is how you can recall them. First, she will dry him like a hay and exhaust him completely. Prevent him from sleeping during the night or even during the day. He would feel like a cursed man, and for 81 weeks he shall wither away and grow thin, and finally she will toss the ship in storm. Okay, moving to the fifth question. How does Banquo not describe the witches? A. They look like women because of their skirts. B. They look withered and wild in their attire. C. They don't look like inhabitants of the earth. Or D. Their beard forbid him to interpret them as women. I hope you have marked your answer. So Banquo says all of these, but he does not mention this point. So that is the answer. Sixth question. How do the witches address Macbeth? A. Thane of Glamis. B. Thane of Cawdor. Or C. Future king. Or D. All of the above. Yes, the answer is all of the above. You're absolutely right. Moving to the seventh question. How does Macbeth react after the witches address him? Macbeth seemed startled and also was slightly frightened. So he was taken aback and also slightly frightened. 8. Does Banquo fear the witches? Does he ask for a prediction? Explain. So these could come in the long question type, and that is why I have mentioned the answer. Banquo tells the witches that if they can see the future and how the future will turn out, then he asks the witches to tell him, as he neither begs them nor fears their favor or hate. So he's not scared of the witches. He says, I'm not going to beg them. He does not fear their favor or he does not fear their hate. And that is why he says, if you can see the future, then tell me how it is going to turn out. 9th one. Which among these do the witches not mention about Banquo? A. You shall not become king, but your descendants shall. B. You are lesser than Macbeth and greater. C. You shall be the future Thane of Cawdor. Or D. Not too happy as Macbeth, but happier. Okay, so do you know which answer it is? Yes, it is C. The witches don't tell him that he will become the future Thane of Cawdor, but they mention all the other points. 10th one. Macbeth says, he is a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. So, first question is, who is the prosperous gentleman that Macbeth is mentioning? If you remember, in the scene, Macbeth addresses the former Thane of Cawdor as a rich and prosperous man. As Macbeth is unable to accept that the Thane is alive and his title has been given to Macbeth. B. Does Macbeth believe he can be future king? Becoming the king is outside his prospect of belief and states that it is impossible to believe that he could be future king and also just as difficult to accept that he is given the title of Thane of Cawdor. So he is in misbelief. He's saying it is totally impossible for him to believe and it is beyond his prospect of belief. 11th one. Lesser than Macbeth and greater. Which figure of speech does this indicate? A. Personification. B. Metaphor. C. Paradox. Or D. Hyperbole. And the answer is C. Paradox. So if you remember the first which says lesser than Macbeth and greater. The second which says not so happy yet much happier. So these are paradoxical statements. So this could appear in the examination. 12th one. So foul and fair a day I have not seen. What does Macbeth mean by this statement? A. A lot of bad things has happened and it doesn't seem fair. B. He had to ignore the good and the bad things. C. Not only was the weather foul, but the nature of battle was bad and the outcome was fair and good. D. The witch's presence make the day foul, but otherwise the day is good. So which do you think it is? The answer is C. Not only was the weather foul, but the nature of the battle was also bad, but the outcome was good because they had come triumph. Because they had won in the battle. 13th one. What does the first witch bring to show proof of her actions? A. A handful of chestnuts. B. A sailor's arm. C. Part of the wrecked ship. Or D. A pilot's thumb. The answer is D. A pilot's thumb. 14. Where does Banquo say that the witches have come from? So if you remember, Banquo says The earth has bubbles and so does the water. These witches have come from such a place. 15th one. Where does Macbeth says have the witches vanished into? Macbeth says that though the witches seem like they have made of a solid material, they have vanished into thin air just like breath into the wind. I hope you are able to recall the answers as I read the question. Moving to the 16th one. What does the witch mean by saying, "Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none"? A. Though you will be king, you won't get to enjoy the throne. B. Your descendants will be the kings. C. Even if you become king, you will be killed. Or D. You will be a loyal minister to the king, but never the king. So if you remember, the witches, they say this to Banquo. And they mention that you will never be the king, but your descendants will be the king. And they will sit on the throne. Going to the 17th question. Banquo says, what can the devil speak true? Who is referred to as the devil? A. The witches. B. The evil thoughts in their mind. C. The Thane of Ross and Angus. Or D. Macbeth. So to who does Banquo says what? Can the devil speak true? So who is the devil here? So here Banquo mentions the devil as the witches. He says this when the Thane of Ross and Angus come and tell Macbeth and Banquo that he's been given the title of the Thane of Cawdor. 18th question. After the witches vanished, Banquo says, were such things here as we do speak about, or have we? A. Been dreaming about what happened? B. Have we eaten on the insane route? C. Are we prisoners of others' mind? Or D. Become too tired to hallucinate events? So as soon as the witches come, give the prediction and then vanish into thin air, Banquo says this. Were such things here as we speak about, or have we eaten on the insane route? That is why he says, are we having hallucinations? Because have we eaten something? 19. What information does Ross give about the reaction of the king when he got to know about the success of Macbeth? So how did the king react when he came to know about the success of Macbeth? Ross says that the king was very happy to receive the news of the success of Macbeth. So first one was very happy to receive the news. And whenever he heard news about the heroism in the fight against the rebels, he became speechless because of his amazement. He was also shocked to learn that on the same day Macbeth fought the rebels as well as against the Norwegian army, and that Macbeth wasn't the least bit afraid of death, even if he killed everyone around him. So this is the reaction of the king. I hope you remember. First one, he was very happy. He was happy to hear the heroism in the fight, and after that he became speechless. Then he was amazed because he fought against the rebels as well as the Norwegian army, and he was shocked to know that he wasn't the least bit afraid of death, even if he was killing everyone around him. 20th one. What reason does Ross say that the king has sent them to Macbeth? A. To send thanks. B. To escort him to the king. C. Not to give the real reward that is in store for him. Which do you think the answer is? The answer is all of the above. First to send thanks, then is to escort him to the king, and the real reward is in store for him, and not to disclose the real reward. 21. What does the metaphor mean? Why do you dress me in borrowed robes? A. Why are you borrowing and addressing me with someone else's title? B. Why have you brought the Thane of Cawdor's robes with you? C. He refuses to accept the title. Or D. He fears the title will bring him misfortune and death. So, the metaphor means A. Why are you borrowing and addressing me with someone else's title? Because he says the Thane of Cawdor is alive, and why are you addressing me with his title? 22nd. But it is strange and oftentimes to win us to harm. The instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles, to betray in deepest consequence. Very, very important part. Okay, so please pay attention to this question. Who says the following to whom? So in these lines are stated by Banquo, and he shares his opinion to Macbeth. It's not why prompted, it is what prompted. What prompted Banquo to say this? When Macbeth asks Banquo if he is beginning to hope that his children are going to be kings, Banquo says these lines, and he says that the whole truth is often strange. What is the interpretation of the above lines? Banquo says that many a times the agents of evil, in order to win us over and then cause destruction, tell us only a part of the truth. They earn our trust by telling us truth of small matters. Small matters are these honest trifles. So they tell us truth of only small matters. They earn our trust and then betray us in something big. And then betray us when it will damage us the most. So this shows how Banquo is very sensible and he understands the intentions of the witches. But Macbeth is naive. He blindly trusts what the witches say, and that causes his downfall, isn't it? 23rd question. Macbeth says, two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. So first question is, what are the two truths? A. Macbeth becoming the king. B. Macbeth as the Thane of Glamis. C. Macbeth will win over the army of Norway. Or D. Macbeth as the Thane of Cawdor. So here, which of the two truths were mentioned which came true? First is Macbeth as the Thane of Glamis and Macbeth as the Thane of Cawdor. What does as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme mean? So here this means that so far the two things that the witches told me have come true, or came true. So it seems like it will end with the third prediction that I will sit on the throne and become the king. So this is what Macbeth feels, that the witches had predicted three things and two of it has definitely come true. So definitely the third one of me sitting on the throne will also come true. 24th one. What conflicting thoughts does Macbeth have about the supernatural temptation by the witches? Macbeth thinks to himself, the supernatural temptation cannot be bad, but it cannot be good either. If it was ill, means if it was bad, then why was he given a prophecy that came true? But if it was a good thing, then why was he thinking of bad and evil things to do? So these are the conflicting thoughts that Macbeth has, because he doesn't know if the supernatural temptation is good or bad. 25th question. What thought of Macbeth makes his hair stand on its end and makes his heart pound inside his chest? A. The thought that he will be king who is powerful and strong. B. That Banquo's sons can also be kings. C. Killing the sons of the King of Scotland. Or D. Murdering King Duncan. So what thought does he have in this scene? The thought of murdering King Duncan, which made his hair stand on its end and made his heart pound inside his chest. 26th. What phrase does Banquo use to describe the witches when they encounter them in the heath? A. Rump-fed Ronion. B. Withered and wild in their attire. C. Fair and foul. Or D. Evil and scary. The answer is, what are these? What is it that is withered and they are wild in their attire? That is what Banquo said. 27th one. Present fears are less than horrible imagining. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so much my single state of man. This is again an important one. Explain what this means. Macbeth says that the dangers that actually threaten him are less scary than the horrible thoughts that he is having. Even if it is not the reality, the mere thought of committing murder shakes his very sense of self that he hardly knows who he is anymore. So he went into a war or battle, he fought, he killed a lot of people, but that did not make him scared as much as the scary thoughts that he has in his mind, which is killing King Duncan. 28th. When Macbeth is wrapped, what does Banquo compare Macbeth's new honors to? A. He is petrified and dazed. B. New clothes that don't fit until they have been worn for a while. C. Storm in the sea. Or D. A war that is about to brew. So what does Banquo compare Macbeth's new honors to? He compares it to new clothes that don't fit until they have been worn for a while. If I have to quote exactly what is written in the scene, then it says, new honors come upon him like a strange garment, cleave not to their mold, but with the aid of use. Yeah. 29. How does Macbeth thank Ross and Angus? A. By promising them high positions. B. He won't ever forget the trouble they have taken when he thinks of this day. C. He promises to praise them in front of King Duncan. Or D. He gives them his worthy sword as a way of appreciation for the trouble that they took for him. Do you know the answer? Yes, it is B. If you remember, in the scene he says, kind gentlemen, your pains are registered where every day I turn the leaf to read them. Yeah. Now moving to question number 30. Banquo says that the instruments of darkness tell us truth, win us with honest trifles to betray us. How does this statement bear truth for Macbeth's later actions? A. It is an indication of Macbeth's blind trust in the witch's prediction. B. It shows how Macbeth is greedy for the throne. C. This is how Banquo manipulates Macbeth. Or D. It indicates that Macbeth doesn't need anyone's support. So here Banquo really warns, saying we are not supposed to trust blindly what is mentioned, but Macbeth is blindly trusting the witch's prediction. 31. The witches disappear immediately after they give their prediction to Macbeth and Banquo. What effect does it have on both of them? A. They are left happy and relieved. B. They start questioning reality and are left confused. C, they're convinced that it was not real and just a fantasy. Or D, they are hopeful that the prophecy will come true. So, what happens when the witches come, suddenly give their prediction, and then vanish into thin air? They start questioning reality, isn't it? He's saying, have we had any insane route? And they are left confused. They don't know if it was fantastical, if it was a fantasy, or if it was reality, or what it was. And we have completed all the questions from this scene. Wasn't that enjoyable? Please like and share this video among your friends. Let everyone gain from it. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that right now. I'm praying for each one of you. Thank you and God bless.